course, I know everybody should be familiar or aware of the case with Carmelo Anthony, and not the basketball player, and the kid Metcalf, Austin Metcalf, I believe that's his name, um, at a track meet, and things went south real fast.
Very south. Down bottom. Down bottom, man.
Yeah.
Jeez. And we see right here, there was not just one tent. There was two tents. And this is the part that I really have maybe I missed it in all of the videos, but I would think it was this second tent on the left. We see that there's a memorial tent and there's a other team. There's another tent to the left. And from what all I've seen, it kind of seems, and I heard from somebody, and the thing about it, it's hard to go off of shit if it's not in black and white. But they did say it was raining this day, and we probably could look it up to see if it was raining this day. We have been getting a lot of rain here
It
the
was.
past. Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking. So yeah, it's raining. People don't want to sit out in the bleachers in the rain, and that might have been simply the seating dispute from inception. Is that Karmello just didn't want to sit in the fucking rain, and somebody had a tent. Did Karmello bring the tent? No, he didn't bring the tent. She's the woman there says, there were personal items there in which,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I know if you had something on that.
No, I did. I mean, I can't make no assumptions, but I mean, you said everything that could be said at this point, so we go ahead and continue.
Yeah.
But I do got some things we're gonna touch on. Trust me.
Okay.
And said to Metcalf, "Touch me and see what happens."
Touch me and see what happens. And we'll get into the self-defense aspect of it, because I definitely want to get into that in the state of Texas, what self-defense and what classifies that.
So
1M on the bond.
I would like to start here, bro. When Carmelo told the officers, "There's no alleged, I did it."
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question that we hear when suspects are being interrogated, or what are they trying to convince the suspects to do? They say, "Be a man, tell the truth." This young fella did not lie one time. He owned up to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I bringing this up? I'm seeing titles of news clips that says the chilling words that Karmello said to the officer after stabbing Austin. And they're talking about, "There's no allege, I did it." Isn't that what he's supposed to do? I know that's hard for people to fathom, because someone who commit, and I don't even want to call it a crime because we don't know what it's going to be yet, an act like he had to commit, as he said, in self-defense, you get scared. You don't want to say, "I did it." You don't want to say that. He owned up to it. He manned up to it. And he's up 17 years old.
Yeah.
That to me, that tells me he was raised somewhat right. And I'm not going to say he was raised wrong because he stabbed somebody. Because I don't know the whole story. And I know they said, and we're going to get into this as well, they don't know each other.
Well, yeah, the twin, in his report to the police, in the arrest report, the twin told one of the officers that he didn't know who the guy was. In his word, that's what he said. As far as Metcalf, I don't know. because he's no longer living. So
You would think if one brother don't know him, the other one don't either, right? And that's an assumption. But they're twin
yeah,
brothers. They're in the same
yeah,
grade. And if they knew each other some kind of way, that twin brother
right.
knew.
Like when you say I didn't know him, I knew of him, like something like that.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
But that I just want to hit that part because I felt like what is being done is what's gonna be done is they're gonna paint a picture of this guy as he's some cruel animal that
yeah,
have no feelings. But you heard he asked the officer, "Is he okay?"
yeah.
So
He asked him. There was there were things in that police report or that arrest report that kind of stood out in the news. Touched on definitely the "Is he okay?" quote. The other quote was the "I did it" quote, like admitting to it quote, and then there was the other quote, which I thought was him asking the police, "Is this self defense or isn't this considered self defense or something?" Under the I don't know the exact wordage of it, but him asking a police or someone about is this self defense.
yeah,
Those were the three quotes that I seen in the arrest report. What's good, Cupcake in the building?
yeah, I agree, Nikki. But he's a kid.
Yeah,
I think
that's
that
facts. What you
question
said.
that question could come back to haunt him. I
Yeah,
hope it doesn't. I hope it's looked at as he's a young kid. He acted because he thought he was defending himself. He didn't know the extent he could go to defend himself in a situation like this. All he know is, and I'm just saying this. I don't know if his parents ever taught him that anything. So don't. This is not law.
right.
My mom and dad said if they put their hands on you, you fuck them up, and that's what he did. And
Yeah,
maybe he didn't know they meant beat him up. You know,
yeah.
you feel what I'm saying? And I
These
don't know if that's the case. I don't know if that's the case. I'm just saying that. So don't take that as
right.
I'm trying to make or create a narrative. I'm not doing that.
Nah.
But
But go ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
But what you say, I mean, whenever these cases get looked at in the court of law, there's actually clear and concise definitions for all of this in the self defense realm, and that's we going into the self defense bag now. From the report, it was said that Karmello was pushed. So if you're pushed, uh, in that context, one of the things that they do look at self defense in the state of Texas, they do look at what they call proportional force. Force used in self defense must be proportionate to the threat you perceived. And the thing that makes this iffy is the three words threat you perceived. So I could have the perception of a push being I need to throw up my dukes. I need to get at them like that. But another person may, you know, uh, all these people, I don't know these people. I'm here by myself. I don't know, and pull a knife out because it was said that he was pushed, and then I guess after being pushed, he had a bag. He went to the bag, got the knife out, and stabbed him in the chest. And this is not the only thing they look at whenever they look at self defense, but this is just one of them when it comes to proportional force. I guess in your eyes, looking at that, looking at the first degree murder, I'm probably loading the question up, but first degree murder, premeditated, all of that, man. What's your thoughts? I guess.
Uh, let's just go back to the push
Okay.
because in the documents it said grab, touch. So when we if we could just become these kids for just a moment, he tell them, hey man, you got to get up. Now I don't know if they were standing behind him or in front of him. I don't know. But let's say you're standing in front of him. He got a twin brother that's same size as him. These two big old high school football players in front of this small track runner, and one of them decide to push him. In my head, as a teenager, the other one finna do something too. They about to jump me. That might have not been the case at all. But if you're looking in the face of two big ass, and I think one brother was a linebacker. I don't know the other position the other brother played, but they were two big football players. He ain't nothing but about $140. They about two something. What you thinking? Now, am I gonna pull out a knife? Me? Probably not. Not as no teenager. I ain't carrying one. But I know the first thing I'm gonna do once I get pushed, the first one's gonna get knocked out, and I don't have to worry about the second one later.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
So going back to what you said, the perceived thought of a threat.
Right.
He didn't know what they were gonna do to him, right?
Right.
So that takes us back to the case of the pastor, right? What did the pastor do? The pastor ain't have not one weapon on him.
Right.
But what did he do? He pushed her friend down. She seen him coming at her. Oh, I'm not finna let him push me, because he pushed him down. He hit his head on the concrete. Pow! Night.
Yeah.
Isn't this somewhat similar, bro?
Yeah, I see where you're going with that. I wasn't expecting you to go there, but I can see some similarities. Let me snatch up some of these comments. Cupcake say, isn't there some type of prohibition on athletes having weapons at events? And yeah, I would think so. When it comes to this specific case, it was not on school property, but from what I've heard, it was at a community track center or something like that, kind of in the area. So it was not on school property, but it was a school event. And in that case, I think the same rules apply. Basically, it doesn't matter if it's at fucking the American Airlines Center. Is a school event. So
yeah. So if he's gonna get charged with at least that.
At least. In which that I don't like that. I carry a knife everywhere I go. That's just I carry a knife. I don't carry a gun. I carry a knife everywhere. No boss man. You I'm not gonna get into that, but yeah, I carry a knife everywhere I go. I got knives. My dad was a knife collector. I just grew up in that type of, my daddy had a whole switchblades, butterfly knife. I grew up around knives, sharpening stones and all that shit. I'm into that shit. I like knives, so I carry them everywhere I go. And I don't see nothing wrong with carrying them everywhere you go, because you never know. But
just like guns. I got them too.
Yeah, and it's Texas, Georgia, these stay in your ground states, man. You like people they got guns. Like people got guns. It's not it's not New York City around this motherfucker, man. You don't have road rage with certain people because the motherfuckers got guns. I'm just saying.
I got a bunch of them too.
That boy boss over there. So, and with the self-defense, another one of the things that is listed here is provocation. And it says you cannot claim self-defense if you provoked the attack or confrontation.
Absolutely.
In this situation, you could say Metcalf provoked, or you could say he what was the quote that they said he said to Metcalf?
Hey, touch me again and watch what happens.
Touch me again, watch what happens. Something like that.
Touch me and watch what happens. Because at that point he hadn't touched him yet.
So I mean, in that case, which provocation is more is worse? Do you feel? I guess.
Hey, listen, you better put your pride to the side. I'm gonna have to say what Buddy he shouldn't have put his hands on. He
Yeah.
gave listen, what do the police say when they kick in your door? They give you a warning of who was in the fucking house, right?
Yeah.
Yep. That dude gave you a warning. He let you know what you fucking with. Don't fuck with me, bro. And that's
The
why I said, man, don't have pride to get yourself fucked up. Because
right.
obviously the way, and we don't know how Austin said it to Karmello, but obviously he said it in a way that made Karmello feel some type of way. So he said, touch me and see what happened.
Right.
So obviously, and this is an assumption, people, Austin said, man, get your ass up from around here, bro. You got to get up. We don't know what he said, but it warrant Karmello to respond the way he did.
Right. So do you think the warning is provocation?
No.
Okay. Okay. I got to ask. Let me go down.
No.
Let me see.
Nigga, snake will hiss before he let you step on him, bro. That's your
When it
fucking
comes
warning.
when it comes to the proportional force, the force used in self defense must be proportional. You're on that. You're saying that the threat of perceived what could have been, you would say, is it was warranted. Basically, the knife in that case, it was warranted because his brother's there, and he
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like, let's say, for instance, I like to go all the way to the left. Let's say if Shaq was standing in
Uh-oh.
front of Urkel,
Okay.
and Shaq say, man, get your bitch ass up from here before I knock your ass out. And Urkel said, man, you better not touch me. And Shaq pushed him. What you think Urkel gonna do? And that's just one person. But this
Yeah.
man was faced by in front of two people. So do you think Urkel had the right to on Shaq?
I mean, morally, I feel like sometimes can be different than in a state of court of law, because a knife is a deadly weapon. You know what happens when you stab someone in the chest. I just want to just say that loss of life and self defense, these things, they can go hand to hand. At the end of the day, that's a deadly weapon, and that's the only way I can break it down. Like that knife is a deadly. If I go through the action of doing that, I have to know that this person could die. When he pushed them, the death is not coming after you get pushed. So that's the only thing when it comes to proportional uh, discernment in young people. It's not like older people, so I understand that. But definitely,
All right.
someone push you, are you gonna use deadly force?
Is this deadly force? They're at the top. Let's say they're at the top of the bleachers. Let's say it's a little higher than what we expected.
Well, I know what a 10 is, and that's not at the top. So
I know. I'm gonna paint another picture. There's no
okay,
knife. There's no knife in this picture at all. It's just hands. He's sitting there. They standing at the top of the bleachers. He said, "Man, push me and watch what happens." He pushes him. He stumbles, almost fell back. So he pushed him. And let's just say that gate wasn't tall enough. And he flipped right over that motherfucking fell all the way at the bottom. Not down the bleachers,
right.
but the
You
bottom.
talking about down the back of that
Back of
motherfucker?
that motherfucker. And he died. Is that he ain't had no deadly weapon in his hand, but he used his goddamn hands.
That's proportional. That's proportional. Yes, that would be under what it's saying. That would be proportionate. So I get what you're saying, but at the end of it, man, it's a knife to a gunfight at a certain point in the court of law and what can be proven. I don't know what can be proven. I don't know. I think I'm just going off that.
Yeah, I mean the law is whatever the law say. I can come up with several different scenarios, but
Right.
they're gonna go by that fucking law. But as a defense attorney, you have to hit them with this, hit them with that, hit them with this.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's what he's gonna do. Trust
Oh
me,
yeah.
that's what he's gonna do. He might not give the examples I give or anything like
Yeah.
that, but he's gonna bring up cases and all kind of shit.
Oh yeah.
So we weren't there. And I remember the first time you brought this to my attention, I said this is one of them cases where you had to be there to see what the fuck happened.
Right.
Because we're going by the statement of the witnesses, the police officers, the brother, and I still want to know, were they behind him or were they standing in front of him? Because if he's sitting down on this bench and they standing in front of him, that's a threat. That's a threat for me. I got to look up at you. Oh, you threatening me, bro? You better back up.
So as far as when it comes to the premeditation, right? The knife is in the bag. He got pushed. He went to his bag, did what he did. The whole time he's going through the bag, nothing was said as to what they were doing. I'm pretty sure some motherfuckers and might have been some other shit going on. But from the standpoint of premeditation, do you feel like the going in the bag and the time looking for it in the bag and all of that and not anything else happening? Because when he went to the bag, they could have bum rushed his ass. Either way, if they was behind him or in front of him, when he went to that bag, they could have kept on going. It could have been a flurry. It could have been a whoop, whoop, wop, wop, wop. It could have been all of that, but I'm not hearing that. So as far as the reaching in the bag, getting the thing out, going, stabbing in the chest, do you think that there is some premeditation in that act?
No, because he didn't go to the track meet to harm anyone.
Okay.
His intentions was to protect himself, not to murder no one.
Right.
So no, I don't think they could call first degree, and I know that is one of the stipulations of first degree murder. So, if they're not charged, I don't know if they're going to be able to lower it, which they probably will. If anything, I think it's going to be manslaughter. If anything, I don't think he's going to get first or second degree murder. I ain't gonna say he's gonna walk scot free. Depending on how good his lawyer is, but he had no intentions on killing this guy. You can't say he purposely stabbed him in his chest. He could have grabbed that motherfucker and just swung, and lucky shot. So nah, there's no.
I think I'm looking at a little. I mean, I know grabbing a knife, what that means for one, and I know stabbing towards any human, it's a deadly weapon. I don't want to get away from that. I don't want to get away from that. Any way you jerk at anybody with a knife, let's just not get away from that. That's all I'm gonna say.
So let me ask you this then, because you actually brought this up. You said when he went in a bag, they didn't do anything. They stood there. Why? Why do you think they did that? Why you think after he pushed him or whatever he did, touch him, push him,
you scared.
Exactly. So
why was it even needed anything? Why couldn't he just pull it out and say, "Get the fuck back, motherfucker"? You gonna get, why didn't the warning stop?
The warning should have stopped his ass then. He said, "Touch me and watch and see what happens." If somebody say that to me, I'm thinking twice. Like, all right, I'll just go get fucking security. You know what? You sit your ass right there. Security.
Yeah, that's what should have happened. That's what should have happened.
Yeah, because this generation, man, you don't know what the fuck they gonna do.
But from a standpoint of at the bag and nothing happening, I'm looking at it like you just pulling it out. How could that not be enough? Like if you pull it out and then they keep going, and see that's the thing. Why? Like we don't know. There's a lot that we don't know. There's I think they said like 70 something people that was around when this happened. So us not being one of those 70 people, going back to that, it's hard to say because once he pulled it out, did they charge him? Or did they? Because if they did charge him in that case, then yeah, I would say everything you saying I agree with. But if he pulled that motherfucker out and they were standing back like this, and then he just charged their ass, then it's like, well, shit, you could have just did that and fucking left.
Right. I get what you're saying. And that's why I said you had to be there because the way it's told, and you got to remember what we talked about, he was under a tent full of a team that don't know him, they rocking with each other. So regardless if this story that we're being told has some inconsistencies or some parts left out, then I understand why. Because they don't want those two brothers to look like they were aggressors, which there's
Right.
really no way you can see it. Because
Right.
if they would have asked him to move and he didn't, like he could have made a better decision when he got his coach, or the security. There's a bunch of security out there, police all out there. So I'm not saying he's right for stabbing him, but I can't say he ain't right because I was not there. But let me hit
Well,
this.
I know.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna just say this. I know if I didn't bring that motherfucking tent and I go up and sit up under that motherfucker and it ain't mine, I'm in the wrong soon as I sit the fuck down. I'm not finna go sit up under no tent with no family I don't know, but that that's just me. That's just me. I know if it's a group of black folks and a white boy comes sit in the middle of that tent, then a motherfucker gonna say probably some shit to that white boy. I'm gonna just say that.
Point received. Great point made. At that point, I don't know how hard it was raining. But I think he was seeking shelter, and that's what the first place he seen. So maybe he didn't think it was going to be anything. Maybe he thought it would be cool. And I think also if we raising our kids right, like, man, yeah, you can sit right there, bro. Man, you can sit right there, man. Yeah, man.
Right.
Go get it. It didn't have to go this way. Period.
Hell no. And that's a cupcake. This whole thing could have easily been handled much different than this.
Pride.
And I'm pretty sure he does regret actually doing it. At the end of the day, just from his words to the officer being that candid about his feelings at the time to the officer. Like,
yeah. Nikki New say this will come down to a plea or 12 jurors, and I don't expect this to bend the way social media is seeing it. Well, hey, that's probably how it's going to end, but social media is seeing it from two different angles, so it's gonna go one way. I tell you that.
yeah.
A prosecutor is simply going to say proportional force is not a knife to a verbal threat. Prosecutors can make repeat statements that weaken defense arguments if they try going in too many directions. You say verbal. It wasn't verbal. He put his hands on him. We don't know what that means. We don't know. Because I heard several different goddamn stories. I heard he pushed him. I heard he touched him. I don't think this boy would have stabbed him if he just put his hands on him. Like, hey, bro, come on, man. Can you leave? I don't think he would have stabbed him. I don't believe that.
Yeah. That's kind of why I was leading towards the push. Because I would feel like it would have been something more than just a touch or putting a hand,
She said prosecutors will often issue charges that match public outrage, knowing they can get a lesser charge conviction.
Right.
It's you're right. You're definitely right. It's gonna be like A Time to Kill. Y'all remember that movie? You ever seen that movie?
Yeah, I've seen that shit a couple of times, and I don't remember either time I seen. I was probably 12 years, 13 when I seen it.
That's how they're gonna be outside that goddamn courtroom. She said the charge is first degree murder. I disagree with you on that, Nikki. There's no way you can charge first degree on this. But that's premeditated. He didn't go to that game, or he didn't sit down under that tent to potentially hurt Austin. He didn't do that. Austin put himself in his box. So Austin played his part. I don't wish Austin wouldn't have got stabbed. If anything, should have two-pieced him and got his bag and hauled ass. If he was scared, get your ass up off me and run. I would have ran, but I'm just saying, obviously, he stabbed him and took off. Left his bag and every goddamn thing.
Yeah.
But
I want to play this real quick before we get up out of here. This is the family. I don't think the family actually spoke at the press conference. They kind of had a representative from an organization, the Next Generation Action Network, did a press conference. And we're going to listen to this just for a little bit because, this is one of them cases where it is turning into a lot. It is definitely turning into a lot. There's a lot of racial undertones to it, in which I said from the beginning, if this was two black people, this story would be local, would not be national. But of course, it is where it is now. We have not yet seen a sighting of Ben Carson, but but I wouldn't be surprised. So
you mean Ben Crump?
Oh, Ben, I said Ben Carson. Ben Crump. Yeah, that's who I'm talking about. Ben Crump. Oh, yeah. Yeah, she was just, I think Cupcake was just saying what they're charging.
Yeah, they are actually trying to charge a first degree murder. They're gonna have to drop that shit. Just like they're gonna have to drop this goddamn bond.
$1 million. Yeah, that's. I mean, hell, Yellow Peasy got his shit. It's the lawyer, man. The lawyer got some work to do. We gonna tap in with this real quick. Is it up on the screen? Okay, it's there.
Let's make it clear that absolutely we have the full permission and trust of the Anthony family and authorized for the Next Generation Action Network to speak today. Today in this meeting, we talked about and was able to give them graphic images of what this family has had to deal with for the last couple of days. It is sad. These graphic images not only display children with knives, black children with knives stuck in their head, the Anthony family's address. We saw when this case first started that people were putting online that when Section 8 was accepted into the Frisco neighborhood, that became the lead of the downfall of Frisco. We have saw so many different hateful images, just hateful things. And the Next Generation Action Network wants to reiterate that Karmello Anthony has a right to a fair trial, unbiased, and removed of racial hate and bigotry. I want to make it very clear, and I say this from my heart and my own personal reference. If someone wants to say race is not in this situation and shouldn't be, well, I asked all of those people to join me in calling it out. But don't look at black people and say, don't always play the race card. We don't play the race card, we live it. We live a reality. We also feel that the bond that Karmello Anthony is on is too high. We do. Because guess what? We've been here when Aaron Dean was arrested. We was here when Amber Geiger was arrested. $200,000. The system, it has a problem in it. Now, what I want to be able to do is ensure, and what we was able to hear today from the Frisco Police Department is reensuring that the Frisco Police Department is doing everything that it can to address the racism and the bigotry.
They haven't yet had a press conference yet on this situation, and I kind of look at that a little bit odd, being that this was. I'm thinking about probably about a week now, but and I don't know why they haven't, because you know how they'll do those press conferences where they basically don't say shit in the press conference, but they just do one, just because. And we haven't seen that.
I think they did talk to the chief.
They talked to the okay, so they did talk,
because he said something that I totally disagree with, and I'll go ahead and say this now because this is going to be very important on how this trial ends. He is not going to get a fair trial in that community, in that city. He's not, and I believe the chief was like, he wants it to be in this city because he wants the people of the city to be.
Oh yeah,
I'm sitting here like, bro, that shit ain't gonna work. That shit ain't gonna work. Either way.
I heard that, yeah.
If you have 12 black people, it's not fair. If you have 12 white people, it's not fair. If you have 6 white people and 6 black people, you're gonna deadlock this motherfucker. So if you have goddamn 7 and 5 of either race, people are gonna say it's not fair. So you cannot have this shit in that city, man, because it's not gonna be fair either way.
Yeah, I don't know what I mean, as far as counties, you got Collin County and Dallas County right below. I mean, even in Dallas County, you know, best case scenario, you get you get a more balanced jury, I feel like. But
yeah, because he said it's 50% white and 9% black in that county they talking about. Or the city.
Yeah, I know. Right, that's what I'm saying. In Dallas County, if it get moved to Dallas County, which is just 30 fucking minutes away, I feel like that would be the best case scenario. But with him saying that, yeah, it does allude to the fact that he wants it here for a certain reason, in which, you know, this is Texas. We know what the fuck. This is not Dallas County. This is Collin County. You know, Collin County, it encompasses, you know, Plano, that's the first place I lived when I was here, was Plano. Yeah, them police, the system there is definitely, there's flaws in it. There is flaws in it. When it comes down to, what did he say? When it comes down to these jurors, and when he says, okay, Devin Johnson, what's good? What's good? Devin Johnson say he stay in Allen. That's what's up. I know exactly where that's at. Know exactly where that's at, down there by them outlets and whatnot. But yeah, when it comes to not letting racial things, you know, affect it, and him saying that, you know, about pulling the race card, and we don't pull the race card, we live the race card. I agree with all of that. I agree with all of that. And as far as this case goes, I'm not gonna jump. Regardless of that, I'm not gonna jump and just exonerate somebody because they black. I didn't vote for Obama because he was black. I never voted in my life, and I didn't vote for Obama just because he was black. Maybe you might say, "Oh, you're not on code. You're not on code." And this is a hard conversation to have with a lot of black people because that's something they would say. But I don't know, man. I do feel like it's fucked up that the family has to go through, hearing all of this stuff and seeing these comments, and I think they may when they're seeing all of this stuff on the internet. I do feel like the internet is kind of like a microcosm of the society in a whole, and it kind of shows you, what people really want to say behind these avatars. So I think that's kind of why he was bringing that up. But I don't know how much stock they should actually put in comments being said on a Facebook post. Uh, people, all these threats and things. I understand it, but I don't know.
Well, you don't want to not take him serious because that's why this young man is not here today. He didn't take his threat serious. And I'm going to sound like an asshole when I say that, I promise. But you got to think, it's not a lot of black people in that city. And if people are making threats and they already put their people address out on, man, come on. I'm taking it serious. I'm taking it serious.
Yeah.
That's just me. But you also got people making fake pages acting like they are I don't know if it was the chief or somebody, and made a statement that made like people like, what the fuck is you talking about? Why would you say that? And it wasn't even him. So social media is going to play a part, and there are people who are going to do this type of shit just because they want to cause some shit. That's what they want to see, some fucked up shit happen to somebody. So they'll sit here and AI the shit out of a page and social media with their voice, their AI voice, and make it seem like this is what it is, and it's not. We know that. We talked about this shit, so it's gonna be fucking crazy, bro.
Yeah, it is. It is. I don't want to speed past loss of life. I don't want to make it seem like something's deserved. Do you think? Well, I'm not even going to ask that. I just want to, there has been a loss of life. We have to remember that. I know what kind of emotion this type of case drums up, but I'm gonna stand on balance always. And there's been loss of life. The situation did not have to end like this, and I think that's that's what I got, man.
I mean, I think we all here understand that, and I don't think nobody amongst our circle of YouTube, our subs. There might be some other YouTubers out there who don't give a shit, but yeah, that's not here. We speak real. We always gonna side on the side of right. We don't decide who's gonna be right on their color of skin. We don't do that here. You know what I'm saying? But what's right is right, and what's wrong is wrong. Right now, I'm not gonna put myself in the middle because this one right here, I wasn't there, so I can't say too much, but I can give my opinion on the facts that's been presented to me.